We are set to kick off a very early NASCAR Nationwide Series media availability this morning with Trevor Bayne, driver of the number 60 Weeback Pat Ford. First of all, welcome back to the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
Thank you.
It's been several months since you have competed on this side, but last race here in the spring, March, you finished 8th. So talk a little bit about coming back to Bristol and then also the special paint scheme you have this weekend for honoring Pat Summitt.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I get to see all 5 of you this morning, so it's good to get up early for something. But I'm really excited to be back at Bristol. It's the home track, and there's no better color to run here than Tennessee orange. So it's a perfect fit, I think, with Pat Summitt being on the car. You know, really just raising awareness for her and Alzheimer's with her situation that she has going on. But I feel honored that I get to represent Pat Summitt. Hopefully I can do as good as she's done representing the Vols here the last, I don't even know how many years, I guess 30 or 40 years she's been doing it. So it's pretty special. But last time we were here at Bristol, we had a really fast race car. We qualified second. We led the race for a long time. We had some pit strategy that didn't work out for us at the end, ended up finishing 8th. So I think we can definitely improve on that. And I'm looking to go out there and try to get our first nationwide win of the year. I mean, this could potentially be our last nationwide race of the season. I'm not sure about that yet. I've been trying to talk Jack into a lot more at the end of the season since he's wanting to run the full-time series next year for a championship with me in the car. I'd like to get my feet wet a little bit at the end of the season and get some momentum going. I think that'd be a good thing to do, just to get some a feel for the nationwide cars again, because they are a little different than the Cup cars. But I'm excited to get that roll started back here at Bristol. It's kind of weird being parked on this end of pit road. I haven't done that since my first nationwide race in the Taco Bell car. Normally we're down there with the other guys, but it'll still be good, and we got a fast race car hopefully.
All right. We'll go ahead and open it for questioning. We'll start with Jenna.
Hey, Trevor, Jennifer, AP. You were 3rd in points here, I think, when you after you raced here in Bristol, and then you guys shut it down a race later. What was that like for you to know that you probably had a shot if you'd continued? You might have had a shot at the championship and winning races, and they had to pull the plug on it. And then if you could talk a little bit about next year, you mentioned that you're going to run full-time. Is that all locked up and sponsor and everything?
Yeah, from what I hear, Jack's going to run the car full-time, just like he's planned on doing with Ricky this season. You know, they didn't necessarily have sponsorship at first, but they planned on running it, and then anything that came in went to that car. And I think that's probably what's going to happen next year with Jack. They've told me that, and it sounds like it's in concrete, but you know, I'm sure things can still change before the season starts. But as of now, we're going to run full-time nationwide next year. But it is a little bit disheartening when you're 3rd in points and you think you've got to run for a championship going. Even though it was a thrown-together deal, we still had, you know, limited amount of people, hardly any cars in the shop. And the car that we got ready for this race, we got ready in a week. We took a Carl Edwards car from last year, stripped it down, got it back together in 1 week, literally. So we've had a little bit more of a head start this time, and I think that'll help us here. But we would have loved to have run a full season this year. I still have never done that. Even though it seems like I've been around for so long in the Nationwide Series, 3 years now, I've still never ran that one full season all the way through with one team and one group of guys, and that's what I'm looking forward to next year. At first, when they said that, you know, I was a little bit bummed out because I wanted them to come to me and say, hey, we're going to run you full-time in a Cup car, the 4th team, and that didn't happen. But when I did find out that I was running nationwide and I thought about it, I thought that's probably a good decision to go out there and get that first full season under our belt in that series and work on running for points, because I've done that a limited amount. I haven't got to go points race, and I think it'd be good to get that under our belt before we go to that Cup level, when it's going to be even tougher to do that and get that experience.
All right, go ahead.
Is that my breakfast, Marty? Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Trevor, good morning. Alex Gu with ESPN. Just had a couple quick questions for you. One was sort of, as you were alluding to, with the Nationwide going in there full-time next year, can you just talk a little bit about what your day-to-day role is in terms of, we know the team is always busy digging up sponsorship for you, but just what you do day-to-day to try to find funding and everything. And the second thing I was just going to quickly ask, we got the news earlier this year about Ricky Stenhouse stepping into the 17 car full-time. Can you just talk a little about your reaction to that? I'm sure it's, you know, kind of mixed. You're a good friend of Ricky, you're happy for him, and at the same time, that's ultimately where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. And that's that's the hard balance to find because I am excited for him. I think it's great. I think he deserves it because he's run really well in Nationwide. And, the hard part is I feel like we both deserve it a little bit. And there is a forced team there, so that's a good option that we have. It's not like they chose, him over me or anything like that. It was he's ready to Cup. I haven't run a full Nationwide deal yet, but still, with that being said, I'm happy for Ricky. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for him to step into that 17 team that's already a running team that's really strong. But at the same time, I can't wait to get my opportunity in Cup. I think we could run competitively there every weekend. We do that even with the Wood Brothers car part-time. We go to Michigan, qualify 6, run top 10, and we've had a couple top 10s already this season. So doing that on a part-time schedule, I think those runs would turn into top 5s if you're running full-time. And if you can run like that, then you're a contender to get yourself into the chase and run well in the Cup Series and make a name for yourself. But I've just got to be patient in the meantime and wait for that. Next season, I think, is going to be a great deal for Jack. He's going to put everything he's got behind me, and including sponsorship. This season we knew that pretty much anything that came in would have to go to Ricky's car until it was funded because they were locked into running him, and I was locked into the Wood Brothers car. So next year it'll be exciting to see what partners we can come up with, and I've still been beating on every door that I know of. Everybody from Knoxville to Charlotte all across the coast of California. So those guys are doing the same thing, and they're really working on our sales team at Roush. They've just added one new person to kind of come in and head things up a little bit. This season we have added more sponsors, I think, than we have in the past with the Nationwide side with NOS and those guys, and also on the Cup side with Fifth Third Bank, Best Buy. I think they're really starting to grow a little bit more productively than they have before.
All right, Jeff?
Jeff Glove from SBNation.com. When you lobbied Jack for more races, like you said you wanted to toward the end of this year, how effective is that? I mean, if you,
I don't
know. Have you tried it before? I mean, if you get in his ear and you're like, come on, Jack, I mean, does that work? Or is he like, come on, no, sorry?
Well, I think it does. I mean, Jack is, he's the most influential one of the company, and if you get him convinced that that's what you need to do, then it could happen. But I haven't really tried it yet, so I don't know how it's going to go. At the beginning of the season, we talked to him about running full time and hopefully we'd get sponsorship, and he ended up doing that for the first 5 races in hopes that we would get sponsorship. So that wasn't me trying to convince him. That just made more sense, and I think Jack understands that. I think he understands that running more races at the end of this season is going to better prepare us for a championship next year. Same thing with Ricky, running a couple more Cup races just to prepare himself for that 17 car. Jack, as a racer, understands that seat time's necessary. So if he can possibly do it, I think if he can make ends meet at all and do that, I think he will, just because he gets that.
Go ahead, Bob.
I'm Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Just want to check, you're still planning to do the Wood Brothers as well next year, is that correct? I mean, is that the plan?
Yeah, I talked to Eddie and Lynn last weekend, and they said that they had told Jack, hey, if everything's good, we would love to have Trevor back in our car, because we've built such a brand there and had such a good time running together, and if I'm not going to be in a full-time Roush car, then the next best thing is running for the Wood Brothers.
Trevor, Paul Woody, Richmond Times-Dispatch. You would never give back your Daytona victory, but I'm just wondering if winning like you did that first race, did that set up any unreasonable expectations for you or for the fans or ownership?
Maybe for the fans more than anybody in the sport. I think everybody in the sport understands how hard it is, and especially for a part-time team. I think when we did that, nobody expected us to go back and win the next race at Phoenix. If they did, I don't know what to tell them, but I didn't even expect that. I knew that we could go out there and run top 10. I knew that we could be competitive, but I do understand that it's hard to run if you're not running every weekend to go out for wins. Even in the Nationwide Series, it's tough to run part-time and run well. But the fans, they don't probably, your borderline fan that just turned on the TV and saw me win the Daytona 500 and figured they'd watch me the next week, probably thinks it's like golf. Once you're on the scene, then you're in, and you can go win every tournament. But with racing, it's definitely different. So that might have hurt us a little bit, but I wouldn't trade the win for anything. And I know it's in God's timing anyways, so he was setting me up for something there and putting all the pieces together. So I'm just waiting on the puzzle to make a little bit of sense for me.
Okay, we'll go back to Jenna.
I apologize if you've been asked this before, but with Penske moving to Ford next year, is that an option for you?
If Jack says it is, you know, if Roger went to Jack and talked to him, then it could be a possibility or something. Not for me, it's not. You know, it would strictly have to come from Jack, and he would have to say something. Being under contract, there's no way I would go talk to another team or do anything like that at this point. You know, Ford has done a great job of building up their company, and they're doing that in racing too with Ford Racing, adding teams, making it more competitive. The more teams, the better. But I don't know if that changes opportunity for me or not. If Jack talked to him, I haven't ever heard of it, so I'll just kind of have to wait and see.
Okay, we'll go to Woody.
Woody came with MRN. Trevor, being the home state guy, I just wanted to get your opinion of the changes to the track here and how you think it'll race.
Well, I'll let you know here just a little bit, I guess, when I get on it. But from the looks of it, I don't think it's going to be that much different. I think as you get into the Cup cars, the track starts taking on rubber. It is going to eliminate a little bit of that groove at the top, which they use to keep the cars wound up so when they lost forward drive, they could get up there and really get some bite. But I don't know if that's going to be there or not because it's so tight coming off of 4 anyways. And then if you take a little bit of that groove away, we're going to be coming up on that wall pretty quick. So I don't know if it's going to change it that much, though. I think it was just enough that the fans were going to think there's going to be a big difference in the race, and they'd come show up. But for us, as drivers, and nationwide especially, I think it's not going to change the track that much for us.